Hi there. Let's work today on seeing if we can go through some more information on our construct chains. Now, construct chains can have only one absolute noun. That absolute noun is going to be our anchor. That absolute noun, we're going to look to that to determine whether we have definite article or whether it's going to be indefinite. If the absolute noun is indefinite, then the whole chain is indefinite. If the absolute noun is definite, then the entire chain is going to be definite. So let's look at some of the spelling issues that we're going to run into here. What I have here is that we realize that most construct nouns are spelled differently from their lexical or absolute form. Now, if it's an absolute noun, it's going to be spelled just like its lexical form. And so there's not going to be any change. So if there's no change, your first assumption should be, this is probably the absolute noun. Now, there are some nouns that do not change in their construct spelling, but we'll look at those in a moment. But let's consider first the spelling changes. Now, what happens in this spelling change is that, let me get my glasses on here so I can see my notes. What happens in the construct spelling is that the construct is going to surrender its primary accent to the absolute noun. And when it surrenders its accent, it's going to change the spelling, which is going to in turn change the pronunciation. And so that's going to help you to determine that is not an absolute noun, that is a construct noun, and it's going to make it much easier for you with your translation work. So basically what you're going to see is that the absolute noun is going to want to take the vowels what you're going to see is that the construct noun is going to want to take the vowel that's as short as possible. So what we have here with the lexical is that we have the long A comets and another long A comets. And then when it's in a construct spelling, surrenders its accent, and then those vowels are going to want to take the shortest form possible, the vocal schwa and the patha. So that's how you would determine word between word of in a construct spelling. And that's going to, again, help you very much in your translation. Here in Torah, you have the comets that becomes apatha. It surrenders its accent and takes the shortest vowel. Av surrenders its accent, and the comets becomes a hatef patha hirik. I should say hirik yod. So it gives up its accent, and then it gives up its long vowels and wants to become as short as possible. And basically, that's just in a nutshell what happens with the spelling changes. Now, when you have a monosyllabic, there we go. The spelling of Sus and Melek, the lexical absolute spelling is identical to the construct spelling. At the beginning, you might say, oh yay, at least there's something that's going to stay consistent and doesn't change, and I won't have to learn anything new. But the problem here is that when Sus or Melek appears in a sentence, you don't know whether they're the absolute or the construct. And so you have to then allow context to be your director as far as your translation goes, because you don't have any internal markers there as to whether it's the absolute or the construct. So when you're reading or translating, you're going to have to make a judgment call. Now, horse or Sus is monosyllabic, and it doesn't change spelling. And then Melek is a sigolate, and the sigolates do not change in spelling. So you're going to have to just work with that and look at the context to tell you which one's going to be which. Now, there's more with the construct chains. In the construct chain, if you have an endingless noun, it's going to surrender their primary accent, and then the following rules of vowel reduction are going to apply. Now, these are the spellings of nouns in the construct state. They are endingless nouns, both masculine and feminine. When the comets and sometimes the serrae changes to apatha in a closed or in a final closed syllable, there you see mishpat. The comets changes to the heroic in judgment of. Make sure it's a heroic and not a. I'm sorry, my printer ran out of ink, so the comet changes to apatha. That's apatha and not a heroic in judgment, and then in alter, the serrae changes to apatha to change it from an absolute to a construct state. Now, the second rule is that the comets or serrae change to a vocal schwa in an open, unaccented syllable. Here we have shalom. You have a two-syllable word, and the first syllable is open with a long vowel. Once that word surrenders its accent, that syllable can no longer take the long vowel, and therefore it reduces to a short. And that's what you have here with shalom. In the third example that I have here, the accent you have closed and accented. So you have the long vowel in word, dabar, and then that changes because the accent shifts, and then it closes on the accent, and it changes from a comets to a schwa patha. And the same with lave or levav, which is heart. Then fourth, in monosyllabic nouns, there we go, with changeable long vowels, the long vowels reduce to the corresponding short vowel. And I'll get that close enough so that you can see the markings there. There we go. So sun stays the same, and all takes on a comets. So again, the best thing that you can do to get these down, because they do get a little complicated, just take a deep breath. Know that I'm not going to pull any tricks on you. I'm not going to ask you to do anything that's in the realm of the impossible. Just remember, the absolute noun is your anchor. When the absolute noun has a definite article, then your construct nouns are going to be definite. If it doesn't have a definite article, then your construct nouns are going to be indefinite. You can only have one absolute noun, but you can have many construct nouns. I think in the Hebrew Bible, the most that you're going to find are 4, and that's a rare case. Mostly it's going to be 1, 2, and sometimes 3. So you're not going to have just like this infinitely long string. So it's going to be 4 at most, and typically 1, 2, and sometimes 3. So go over your material in your textbook. Prodico Van Pelt does a good job explaining and breaking this down. Do the material in your workbook. Always, your workbook is your best friend, because your workbook allows you to take what you have read, to take what you have heard in our little mini sessions, and then to actually apply it and make certain that between what you're reading, what you're hearing, you're able to then go and do. And that is just work, and go over your book again and again if you need to, because again, Van Pelt, Prodico, they do a great job of breaking this material down and explaining it. So that's it, guys.